All right, everyone. Let's talk about Spellslinger by Sebastien de Castell. Uh, Book one in the Spellslinger series. I'm gotta say that this was a nice hidden gem that I got recommended to me. Um, the main cast of characters are each pretty good. I really enjoyed getting to know Kellen, the main character, and following his journey. I'm not used to a first person. Well, it's not that I'm not used to a first person narrative, but I generally prefer third person. But I really thought this did a great job on doing first person really well and getting us some really good thoughts. Uh, One thing that this book does that I really like is the setup. Almost, I actually don't know. Maybe if I listen to it again or a couple more times, I could find something. But I feel like every piece that's set up is then used later on in the plot for a specific reason. Um, it's with Kellen, and this is happens a lot when you have underdog characters that they have to use their heads more than they have to use just raw magic or brawn or anything like that. And it's really nice to see a good use of a clever character where I don't feel like, and there's other books that do this too, but where I don't feel like it's just like being shoved down my throat that, oh, look how smart this person is. It's mostly like a lot of times his plans kind of fail, but he's always got something new up his sleeve, and I really like that. So this book is really short. I tend to read, I would say, medium length books or long books, but I do enjoy getting a few of these in here and there because it's nice to break up those big, thick books like Wheel of Time or anything like that. And with a shorter book, you have less page space, and with that, everything needs to be important. You have to make sure that every piece of information you're putting out leads to something that's kind of going to work on multiple angles, character development, the plot, everything like that. And Sebastian does a really great job of this in this book. It's I think there's a really great thing he did with setting up for future books, with having Farius into introduced into this book, but not really giving away too much about what the outside world is, but hinting that maybe everything that's going on here isn't really as big as they all think it is. And I really enjoyed that. Um, each side character in the book, and this is something that I feel like doesn't happen very often, uh, they have a role to play. It's not just like some like, oh, they're here so that I have emotional weight to kill off later on. They each have their purpose in the plot and their setup and payoffs for each of their little arcs and stories. Again, this book's pretty short, so not all of them are like super thoroughly developed. Some of them are just, I wouldn't say caricatures, but like they're not, they're basically a few person plot or character personality types. But they are developed enough to where I'm comfortable with that, especially how short this is. Um, I have a hard time pulling apart this book, just because it's so short and it's so compact and good. But I would have liked to see more of the magic. I feel like we get some, and we get to see other characters do more. But I would have liked to see the magic, like Kellen learn a few more spells, or not, maybe not learn more spells, but like him talk about more spells to us, specifically how they work and what they do, because we get like a few, like the gut sword and the shields, which, I mean, the shields are not real, like they're just a barrier basically. they're not really super well explained. So I would have liked to see a few more things just to expand on that, but I think that'll come up as Kellen learns new abilities throughout the books. I guess one thing too would be that this kind of falls into that classic underdog trope. Now that's not bad necessarily, and I think this is done in a really nice way that I'm okay with how it's written. But it is kind of a trope, and it's a story that's been told a million times, and it's going to be told a million more times. So I don't want to, because since this is the first review, I don't want to spoil anything for the series because I want people to go out and potentially read it. And then in later reviews, I'll go into a little bit more detail about what goes on and what I liked and didn't like. With this, the conclusions at the end, and this is maybe a minor spoiler, there's a bunch of different, what I would call conclusion or resolutions. And I kind of would have liked Kellen to do a little bit more at the end. He has his moments to shine, and then each other character has their moments to shine as well. But there's just a few points that I'm like, he kind of gets tossed around like a rag doll, and it's like, okay, like I really don't need to hear how cool your sister is again. I want to. This is your story, so I want to hear more about you. Overall, this is a nice, good, great short book. I would put it up there in my list of things that I definitely recommend, especially to new fantasy people. If you like Cradle, you'll probably like this book. I would say they share a similar archetype. I mean, obviously, Cradle's written in third person, and this is first, and there's differences in the archetypes used and stuff like that. This is more of a, I guess you could call it slightly a magic western a little bit, whereas I really don't know how I would describe Cradle specifically, but I would say that they're close enough that if you like Cradle, you'll probably enjoy this, and if you enjoy this, you'll probably enjoy Cradle. So I would probably recommend those back and forth to each other. Awesome. I think that's going to be it for this review. I'm going to try to keep them a little bit shorter so that I can get through them a little bit faster, and so you guys don't have to watch as long. So, all right, that's going to be it for this one. I will see you guys next time.